Hello everyone, Christian Adams here with Repair Pricer. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about negotiating after a home inspection and specifically for negotiating for repairs after a home inspection. If you found this video and you've not actually put a contract on your home yet, or you've not had a home inspection yet, please click the link in the comments below. You will see I have an article and kind of some information on how you can actually find a home inspector, how you can book a home inspector, how you can book a home inspector who uses Repair Pricer, which will become important as you watch this video. So please go and do that first if you haven't already. This is an informational video of people who have already had a home inspection and they want to find out how they can negotiate successfully after they've received that inspection report. So a little bit about me. I'm a former real estate broker and real estate agent. I work primarily in Texas, running teams of up to 100 agents at a time. And I've personally overseen the transaction negotiation of over 1,200 homes in those markets. So I'm just going to give you a bit of information today about how I worked as an agent, what I advised my clients to do, and hopefully that can help you out during your negotiation phase here. So typically, after you've got a home inspection report back, the first question that buyers would ask their agent or the inspector is, what is it going to cost to fix everything? Because a home inspection report tells you everything that's wrong with the home, but it doesn't tell you what it's going to cost to fix everything. And that's really the main concern, is what is going to be the financial impact of the findings of this report? Do I have to replace this water heater? And if so, how much is that going to cost me? Is this AC system need upgrading, or does it just need a service? Things like that. At Repair Pricer, that's actually what we do. You can come and take your home inspection report, upload it to our website, and we'll turn it into a really accurate estimate of repairs within 24 hours or less, okay? You don't have to use Repair Pricer for these negotiation tactics to work. You could use a handyman, you could try and get a contractor out. But normally when you're talking to a seller, I'm gonna go through some points and point out why you specifically will actually want to control how things get fixed that you're concerned about, not necessarily negotiate for another method that you may have heard about after you get an inspection. So the first thing people think of when they're like, oh, I've got this inspection report back, I know roughly what it's going to cost me to fix all this stuff, I will go and just ask the seller to reduce the price of the home. Sounds pretty reasonable, right? Here's the problem. That firstly will not put any money in your pocket. It won't. You may be saving, if you negotiate a couple of $1,000s off the price of the home, you may save $5, $6, $7 per month. So you're not actually going to have any money to do repairs. The other side of it is, imagine you're the listing agent and you've told the seller, hey, we've got an accepted contract for $250,000. Well, now you're coming back and asking them to reduce that price by $5,000 just arbitrarily. The listing agent, a couple of things go through their mind. I'm now losing money, I'm losing commission, because I agree to this. And the seller, they're like, well, we're selling our house for less than we were told we could sell it for. It doesn't really sit well with people, but primarily as a buyer, just know that reducing the price of the home will not put money in your pocket, okay? You're gonna have to pay out of pocket for those repairs. You're gonna have to come up with that $5,000 somehow, all right? So just think about that. If someone tells you to reduce the price of the home and you do need repairs to be done, I do not recommend that categorically. Okay, that is not the best method. That is the worst method, in my opinion. And it normally does not sit well with the seller as well, okay? So the other one, people say, hey, why don't you negotiate for some money in closing costs? It seems reasonable, right? It actually does stop you bringing money out of pocket, and you could use that money for repairs. You could. The problem is that when you have and you negotiate for closing costs, that has a maximum dollar figure attached to it that's typically around 2% of the value of your loan. So let's say you were doing a typical purchase of $250,000 again, and you were putting 20% down. That means you're only financing $200,000 of that $250,000 purchase. Well, 2% of $200,000 is only $4,000. If you've got $5,000 in repairs that needs doing, and let's say you did write that in, $5,000 towards closing costs. If you max out those closing costs, you've just lost $1,000. And let's imagine a scenario where you've already asked for closing costs in the contract and that's been negotiated, and you've only got $2,000 in closing costs less. that number, even if you write it into the contractors, an extra $5,000 towards closing costs, you lose all of that money if you cannot use it to pay for things that are included as a closing cost. It's very strict about what you can actually use that money for. So even eventually, you may have $2,000, $3,000 that simply disappears off your bottom line because you or your agent or somebody have decided to negotiate for repair costs instead, right? So just keep that in mind. Those are not the best methods to do this. So some people think, great, I'm going to have the seller fix all this stuff. I categorically do not agree with that either. Imagine you are the seller of this home and somebody comes back and asks you to fix all this stuff. Are you going to go out, or is the average person going to go out and hire the best contractor in the area who stands by their work, who does really quality work, who makes sure things get done right the first time? Or are they going to go hire the cheapest possible person that they can find to do what we call lipstick on a pig, to go and make it look like this repair has been done, right? And let's imagine that you've had the home inspection and that's how you found these issues, and you want to make sure the repair is done correctly. Typically, you're now going to have to pay out of pocket to have the home inspector come back and reevaluate everything. So again, by negotiating and saying, hey, seller, you fix these things, you're probably going to get a substandard job that you cannot necessarily verify has been done correctly. And even if you can, it's going to cost you money to verify that. And then also because the seller has hired that person, if there is a warranty in place, a lot of warranties do not transfer with the title transfer of the home. So you could call that contractor 2 months from now because something's gone wrong with the home, and they'll say, hey, look, I'm sorry, you did not contract me to do this work. I don't have an agreement with you. I do not have a contract with you. So what is the best way to negotiate successfully after a home inspection? Okay, my opinion as an agent, negotiate for the seller to write a check at closing to a general contractor, right, or a contracting company to facilitate those repairs. Here's why this works. When you come back and you ask for a price reduction or you ask for closing costs, the seller can be like, hold on, how do I know you're not just going to take that money and buy a flat screen TV, right? They don't. They have no way to verify that you're not just asking money just for the sake of it to try and, negotiate something out of the deal. However, when you come and say, look, I 100% am using these funds for repairs. In fact, I'm going to tell you which contractor is going to execute these repairs. And at closing, the check goes to that contractor and they can only be used for repairs. Okay, this does a couple of things. It makes sure you have zero money out of pocket for those repairs because you already know what it's going to cost. And that contractor specifically can only use that money to fix things in your home. Otherwise, it's mortgage fraud. The seller doesn't really have a rebuttal, and the listing agent doesn't have a rebuttal to that, other than saying, no, we're not going to fix anything. Well, if you then as the buyer say, you know what? Yeah, they've been completely unreasonable. Maybe they didn't know these things were wrong with the home, but all I'm asking is to get them fixed. And you walk away from that deal, that seller and that listing agent now has to disclose those defects and any other defects that were found during the home inspection to the next buyer, even if they get them fixed. Okay, so either they're going to have to pay out of pocket to get those fixed, or they're going to have to, go back to market with the knowledge that they've now got to add extra stuff to their disclosure. Whereas you can say, look, just cut a check to the contractor, and they're going to fix it after we move in. All right, it's something we do here at Repair Pricer all the time. We commonly escrow funds for people. We say, look, you can use Repair Pricer. We're going to estimate your report. We're going to tell you what it's going to cost to fix. We guarantee the price of those repairs. In fact, you can escrow a check at closing. We will hold that check for you, and after you close, we're going to come out and give you a good quality repair. So, like I said, if you're looking to negotiate, a price or something after the inspection, my recommendation: don't reduce the house price. Don't look to put that money in closing costs. Don't have the seller do substandard repairs. Ask for a check at closing to be paid directly to a contractor that you trust, who's actually going to do a good job on that work. And you know that when you move into that house, it's safe, it's good, everything's fixed, and you're happy with it. Okay, again, if you are sitting there on an inspection report and you want to know what it's going to cost to fix stuff, click the link in the bottom below in the comments, or go to repairpricer.com. Okay, you can turn that report into a really, really accurate estimate of repairs in 24 hours or less. Or if you've not had an inspection yet, please go to our website, repairpricer.com/schedule, and you will be able to find a quality inspector who will not only give you a really good and detailed home inspection, but they're also going to provide you with a free Repair Pricer report that's going to tell you what it's going to cost to get all that stuff fixed. Again, Christian Adams with Repair Pricer. If you have any questions, please go to repairpricer.com/support or just leave a question in the comments below. Thanks so much.